and that's the way we're going to do it. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. It's getting cold here in New York City, but it's supposed to. I'm looking at a bunch of. I'm sitting in my little recording studio in my basement, and I'm looking at all the Christmas stuff that over the weekend I gotta get on a ladder and put on outside.
That's real world.
Cursing every minute of it.
Cursing every minute. Yeah. Usually stand on the railing on our front porch to hang the Christmas lights on the
Oh,
front.
the icicles.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. But I have some animals. I have like a deer and I have a penguin. What else do I have over there? I got an angel. My kid went out with her boyfriend and got a little Yorkie to light up, and I
Nice.
hate it. You know why I hate it? Well, first of all, she's 20. Like, who are we doing it for, right? The neighborhood? Like, this neighborhood, they have people that hire professional companies that come and do their entire house, right? So it's not for my kid. She's going to be 21. She doesn't care anymore. So basically it's just, and it's so short.
Is it?
It's like temporary. No, I mean, the
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Okay, so it's December 3rd, right? So,
Right.
okay, so let's say put it up this weekend. So it's like the 5th, the 6th, whatever. Okay, so like somewhere around the second week of January, they're going to be like telling me to take it down. It's like,
Before
dude,
your neighbors start complaining.
I just put it up.
I got some young cats that live next to me, and their Christmas lights are still up
From last year?
from last year.
I think that's brilliant. I think we should start that. Just like leave them up. The world is so like like feels like it's circling the drain. Let's just keep the Christmas lights up.
It's the least we can do, Ricky.
It's the least we can do.
Well, man, thanks for coming. I'm so excited that you said yes to come on, and no thanks, but yes. I wanted you right away because it's really just casual conversations with folks in recovery and who are thriving and having fun and sharing their recovery with others. And these stories need to be told for sure. So tell everybody who you are.
Who am I? Isn't that what we're in recovery to find out? So, my name's Ricky Byrd. I've been in recovery since September 25th, 1987. So I just hit 34 years.
Wow.
Where did I get 25 from? 34 years. And I'm a rock and roll lifer. I've been playing guitar since I'm 9. I'm in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, inducted with Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. I've played with, if you look on my Wikipedia page, I've been blessed to play with like almost everybody I grew up listening to. Either in a band or at events, or something where I'm in the hot all-star band and I get to back up like Brian Wilson and Mavis Staples or something in one night,
Yeah. Taking
And
selfies with Paul McCartney.
selfies with Paul McCartney. Well, that was from
Boom.
the induction. I got to play with Paul that night in the big end finale. And then what I did was I turned quite accidentally. I was asked back in, I'll give you the short story. I was asked back around 2012 to play a show, maybe even earlier than it could have been around 2009 even, to play a show. My friend Richie Supa called me. So Richie lives in Florida. He's part of a treatment facility called Recovery Unplugged down there that
Oh yeah.
uses music as a healing tool, which is what I do. Um, and he said, we're doing an outdoor recovery concert, in Fort Lauderdale. Why don't you come down and play? He had one song at that point, In the Rooms it was called. And he says, I'm going to do that. You could play some blues, play I Love Rock and Roll, whatever you want. So I went down there and I did it. And it was like 180 degrees, of course. I think it was in the summer. But the thing I loved is people would come over to me afterwards and say, wow, man, I grew up on your music. You're in recovery? Because I'm in recovery. Or
Right on.
unfortunately, I lost somebody. Or my mom is in recovery.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that's interesting. And so I filed it. And then I started to get asked to do these. A friend of mine named Woody Giesman runs a place in Boston, a treatment facility called Right Turn. And Woody was in the Del Fuegos, which was a band in the 80s.
Right.
So he became a counselor, and now he's like a big, big wheel up there in Boston in the recovery community. And actually, Simon Kirk from Bad Company called me. He's a friend of mine, but it sounds like I'm name dropping, which
No,
I
it's
probably
your
am.
world. That's
Yeah,
all.
it's my world. That's right.
Yeah.
And he said, "Look, I'm doing this benefit up there for Woody. Do you want to be in the band?" And I'm like, "Yeah, cool." So like, you know, it was me, Simon Kirk, I don't know, Chad Smith from the Chili Peppers, so I wound up doing a couple of them, and then I was the MD for a couple, and we had like Alice Cooper, and at first it was just playing rock and roll stuff, so there was really no recovery songs,
Right.
but we were there to raise money for the place. And Ace Frehley, Alice Cooper. I mean, it just went on and on. It was every year we brought new people, Rick Derringer, like everybody. And again, the same thing happened. Like after the show, people would start, you'd be talking to people and they'd be telling you, wow, that's incredible. I never knew you were in recovery and stuff like that. I've never been um, anonymous about my recovery. I've been anonymous about my ways and means.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe in
Try
going to,
to.
I believe in going to community support group meetings. That's what saved my life.
Right on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I started doing that stuff, and I loved it. I just love. Oh, that's cool, man. I'm kind of mixing the worlds up. Then around 2012, I just went through one of those patches you go through if you're in recovery long enough, where like you get confused.
Yeah.
And I called Richie. I told him, I said, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just like bored. I'm a little this and that. He said, why don't you come down to the house and let's write a song? We wrote "Broken Is a Place." I came back to New York. I recorded it quick. I threw it online. I started getting messages from people around the world saying, you told my story, this and that.
Mm.
And I went, huh, this is interesting also. So I started writing these songs, these recovery songs, a couple of them. I had about 6, 7. Then I reached out to somebody that I met on this journey where I was doing these recovery shows that were based out of Florida mainly. And I reached out to a treatment facility that a guy at a treatment facility I know, and I said, how about if they had like a satellite one here in New Jersey? I'm in New York, but I said, what if I came with my guitar and did like a recovery music group? And I had no clue what I was talking about, but I thought it would be a good idea. He said, yeah, it's great. So I did that there for about a year and a half or 2 years, twice a week, like 4 groups or something like that. I went to 2 different places, long drives, but it was great. And I kept adding more songs. Why did I keep doing it? Was because of the reaction I got from the clients sitting in front of me.
Yes.
Like they were like identifying, because my songs are not preachy. They just tell the story. My job is to just lay the truth out, and then you make your own decisions. I would get these great reactions, and afterwards they would come over to me and they'd ask me to sign stuff, and I'd give them guitar picks, and they said, where could I get this music? And I kept saying, I don't know. And I procrastinated for a while, and then I did this record, Clean Getaway, which came out in 2017.
Oh yeah.
And this has Broken As a Place on it, right? So these are rock and roll records. So there's a couple of really beautiful acoustic songs, but it's all about addiction, recovery, hope, hopefully inspiration. When I put the record out, I started to get responses from everywhere over the world. Same deal. You told my story. I wanted to use last night. I listened to this one. I listened to Lighthouse. I listened to, and it's really helping me. And I said, I think I'm onto something where I could combine my rock and roll world with recovery. And maybe this is what I'm supposed to be doing, right?
Right.
Okay, so that was finished. Clean Getaway, 2017. You work the album for about a year, and then you start writing new songs. And I said, okay, let me try to write some rock and roll songs. But yet there were none. It was like the lyrics were going in the same direction.
Yep.
I said, all right, we'll do one more. I did Sobering Times, and this came out in 2020.
Yeah.
It came out officially in 2021, April, worldwide, on all the usual suspects, iTunes, music, Apple Music, and
no, that album is bomb, man. I have it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I Come Back Stronger is
yeah.
I love that song.
And we did a video for I Come Back Stronger, which you could find on YouTube.
Yeah.
Might
throw a little clip of it in right about here.
Good for you.
Life is a lesson we all live and learn every day. All the ups and the downs and the roadblocks that get in the way. Trying to find myself, I got bruised and hurt, but I survived it all, and it made me the person that I am today. Every time I fall, I come back stronger. I come back stronger. I come back stronger. I was broken once, but not any longer.
So, anyway, so Sobering Times is out now.
Yeah.
You know, you can get it at rickybyrd.com. In fact, where I'm doing a big holiday sale bundle. So it's these two recovery records, plus a signed photo, plus a clean getaway T-shirt, plus some stickers and guitar picks and stuff. And yeah, you get both, and it's like $20 for both things. And
Wow.
the thing is, like, if you're in recovery, like if you're struggling, you're gonna definitely hear something here.
Yes.
If you're in recovery already, and if you're in for a long time or even a short time, it's gonna remind you why you're in recovery.
Yeah. Let's talk about recovery for just a second, because not all of us agree on what recovery is, nor should we. It's a personal experience. What does recovery mean to you?
I love community support groups. I
Mhm.
think a fellowship of some sort. And let's just make it clear. When I go into these recovery music groups, the first thing I say when there's 70 clients of all different some have been there 2 days, some there have been 28, some have been there 6 months. I say, I am not here to sell you on AA. I'm just here to tell you my story and lay out some stuff in these songs. Um, and I say to them, whatever keeps you on the right side of the grass is fabulous.
Yeah.
You want to go to AA, NA, CA, you want to go to church, you want to go to you join a bowling league if it keeps you sober. Whatever your thing is, as long as if it does the trick, then you're on the right path.
That's right.
Now, I know what works for me. And I think a couple of things I know is this is really difficult. And let's just put it out there. There's exceptions to every rule, right? And when you say something, there's always going to be one person that says, well, that's not what happened to me. Yeah, because there's exceptions. But this is really difficult to do by yourself, I feel.
Yes.
Like, that's why fellowship is really cool. What do I mean by that?
Connection is crucial. I agree.
Connection is crucial because isolation is like watering your addiction. You know, it's like when you're
Absolutely.
alone in your head and you have nobody to bounce things off of, you can convince yourself that anything is the correct way to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I could do this. No, I could get away with it. I won't do that much. I'll just have I'll have a Heineken. It'll be fine. See, now with my time now, I still make phone calls to people in recovery, and I say, listen, I got this thing coming up. I'm a little nervous and this and that. Not because I don't know the answer, but I just like to run it by somebody else that's in recovery.
That's wonderful.
I think that's really important, and also because you'll always find somebody that's been through something that you're going through or they're going to go through. And to just tie it back to the first day when I walked into my first meeting, that day, September 25th, 87, it was a DA meeting, Drugs Anonymous. I don't even know if they have it anymore. East side of Manhattan. This the woman who I call every year on my anniversary walked me in. I called her the night before.
Nice.
And it was the hate myself. I was on the hate myself for loving you. You know, it was like around. I had like probably a fringe leather jacket and long. And I was trust me, I was the only person that looked like that in this meeting. You know, there's some suits. There was, you know, but I was the only rocker looking guy. And it was a good sized meeting. But when they started sharing, I just was like, well, that's weird. I'm thinking the same. And that's what attracted me. It's like, and as kids, we always want to be part of something, right? I was really shy and quiet as a kid. And I love being part of this thing. And I went full tilt. I went to that meeting and that was it. And I'm still doing the same thing all these years later.
That connection meets identification. It is definitely a cure for isolation and for loneliness. And we are suffering from an epidemic of despair in this country right now. And it's manifesting in so many ways, so many public health crises. We're dying from despair. So reaching
It's
out
a
and
lot of
connecting
miserable
with
people out there.
a lot of miserable.
And let me tell you, talk about the last 2 years. What because I've been doing a lot of interviews because of this record. What did you do in your recovery for the last 2 years? Well, for the first 8 months, every day I was in front of this computer on a 12 noon men's community support group
I
meeting.
don't have an answer for that.
Sir, you talked to my Alexa. I've named her something
I
else.
didn't ask you a question, Alexa.
Hush.
Yeah, when I want your opinion, I'll give it to you. Uh, so I would sit here at noon. So somebody came on my Facebook page, and once again, I talk about my recovery and stuff. I actually have two separate Facebook pages. One is my Recovery Troubadour page, and one is rock and roll.
Recovery Troubadour.
Yeah. So he said, "Hey man, I got this great meeting. Would you speak there for me?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I spoke at this 12 noon meeting. A lot of time. Yeah, newcomers too, but guys with like 40, 50.
This was a digital meeting, right?
Yeah, Zoom.
Right on.
And I loved it. I fell in love with a couple of the guys there, and we're still, we talk all the time. And for every day for 8 months through every season,
Mhm.
that helped tremendously. And I went on social media and said, "Look, you all know my deal, right? Like if anybody's struggling out there with what we're going through, private message me and let's connect and we'll have a chat." That's also part of recovery, reaching out to other people. That takes you out of your stuff. If you're in the 12-step universe, working the steps and having them in your life, it's not supposed to be torture, man. It's supposed to, it's supposed to break you down and build you back up as a different person.
Yeah.
See, it's like admitting stuff, getting rid of stuff, taking the weight off your shoulders, blah, blah, blah. And then you build yourself up as this new cat that's part of society that wants to help people. And yeah, over time, you take 2 steps back. As long as you don't drink or drug, you're doing fabulous.
I love what you said. It's not supposed to be torture, and the
No, it's not torture.
literature support that. This is not a veil of tears, and we absolutely insist on enjoying life. And some people want to make it a trudge. Some people may preach it to be a trudge, bleeding deacons, but I have joy in my recovery. So this is a great segue, man. And it's hard with folks like y'all. I ask you, what do you do for fun? You're like, we've been talking about that for 30 minutes.
Yeah,
So what do you do? What do you do for kicks, man?
in summertime, don't talk to me because I'm watching baseball
Baseball.
every day. Yankee baseball every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I grew up in the Bronx. That's Mickey Mantle. But so that's as far as hobbies, I love to read. I love to read biographies.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm reading Little Steven's a wonderful biography right now.
Oh, cool.
And I like to read about the mob, the mafia. I like to read about old movie stars and stuff like that. I'm not a big reader of, everybody writes recovery books. I haven't read many of them. It's like, I don't want to, this is what I do. I mean, I would rather read about Groucho Marx and the Algonquin Round Table, but that's the kind of stuff I do. And then, having a 20-year-old kid and a family is a full-time job anyway.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And we just we do everything. You wake up every day. You remember when you would wake up and say, if I could quote Dorothy Parker, "What fresh hell is this?"
Yeah.
And then now you wake up. Yeah. And now you wake up and, there's like, wow, what's going to happen today, man?
Yep.
This is cool.
Yeah.
And then
Some
sometimes
days
you
are better than others, but
yeah. Well, I was just going to say, some days you wake up and the vultures on the bedpost going, "Hey, man, I'm going to make your life miserable today."
Yeah.
And
you got vultures. I described to my wife that I usually walk on super thick ice and everything's good to go, but occasionally the ice gets thinner and I see a Leviathan swim underneath.
Yeah, well, the guy The
It's
guy
a
that I
thin
talk
ice
to
skate.
always says to me that it's your disease waking up before you. You know, it's okay.
Hey, we met through Faces
Right.
and Voices of Recovery. It
That's
was
right.
I was working with them, and it was a meeting out in LA, and there you
No,
were.
no, it was in
DC.
DC.
It was in DC. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So
I got a
uh,
nice little statue that night
oh yeah, you got an award out of that. That's
for my
cool.
work in music and recovery.
Right on.
That was pretty cool.
Which is strong advocacy, man. Telling your story, it raises the profile of recovery. It reduces the stigma of addiction, and more people ask for help and try to connect.
And let me tell you something.
You do that.
Music, well, thank you. Music is completely a healing. I mean, listen, you know, you saw Tony Bennett stand on stage the other night with Lady Gaga and sing. If you saw, we know that he has Alzheimer's, right? So we saw in the summer they had a special about him rehearsing for this thing, and his wife was saying, "Listen, you know, he forgets where he is. He's, you know, he's got this. I don't know if it's early stages, whatever, but you know, he's getting that way. But when he stands at the piano, he knows every word to the song. So there's a part of the brain that can remember specific things like that, right? And he stood there the other night, 95 years old, with this disease, with you know, Alzheimer's. I don't know if he had a monitor or not, but he knew every word to every song that they did. They use music in hospital situations with
Yeah.
people that are in comas. You know, they always tell the kids to bring like the grandfather's favorite music, or you know, and it's something. It does something to some people. And I also found that, as opposed, like my angle is, I go in there, I'm this rock guy, you know, I got my tattoos, and I come in here with my acoustic guitar. I'm not a suit, you know, not that there's anything wrong with suits, but you know, I come in with a different angle,
Yeah.
and I'm. It's a lot easier to hear the message through the vehicle of melody and lyrics than it is to somebody going, and then we have to go to the thing, and the cocaine is bad for you because this is, you know what I mean? It's like it opens a window. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
It's like a lot.
PowerPoints versus power amps.
Yeah, it's like there's something about the way I present that I think I'm doing it well now, where you know, I'm not preaching for sure. You know, and I do this one analogy, if I may, was where I talk about, like, I always say, how many people here are done? Who's done? And everybody raises their hand. Yeah,
Everybody.
because they're in treatment.
And they mean it too at the moment.
Well, yeah, at the moment, because they're in treatment. So they're having their gift of desperation moment, right?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I know. You're in treatment, you're done. But there's a difference between being done up here and being done down here. It's two different dones, right? So if you're done up here, uh, you may be grateful you're in here, this and that, and you're leaving on Friday, you know, and I'm suggesting maybe you call you know, you go to a community support group meeting, you know, when you get out, and they're like, yeah, I'm going to do that. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Yeah, and connect with people. Yeah, I'm going to do that. This is down here. Here's some suggestions. If you know right now you're sitting here in treatment and you know you got 3 bags of dope in your t-shirt drawer tucked between, call somebody you trust at home right now and tell them to throw it down the toilet bowl.
Yeah.
See, because if your mind is telling you you'll do it when you get home, yeah, you're probably lying to yourself. Uh, that's taking proactive action. That's where you know you're kind of heading down to the done in your heart, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you don't want to live like this anymore. I got some stuff at home. I'm not going to take care of it when I get home. I'm going to make a phone call, you know,
Yeah.
get some. Also, want to be
So,
proactive? Ask your clinical director you're getting out tomorrow at 4. Ask your clinical director to look for you, help you look for a meeting of some sort
yeah.
at 6. You know,
Bridge you
that,
right away. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
don't give, you gotta, the shortest time you could put between getting out of this joint and some form of fellowship, whatever it is the best thing you can do. Because if you
Yeah.
leave too much time and somebody triggers you in your house, see, or your friend calls you up and says, "Come on, man, let's go to the club." Nah, I just got out of treatment. No, we'll have club soda.
Yeah.
We'll be fine. I really can't do it. Come on, we'll stay for an hour. All right, I'll go. And I don't know about you, but when I would pull in front of a club, even when I was a kid, before I was in a famous band or anything, when the parking lot was full and the door opened and you heard loud music coming out, the hair on my arms would stand up.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I feel something trouble coming. This is good.
Yeah.
You don't want that feeling until you got some recovery in your pocket. See,
Right on.
and then you go to the bar and you sit with your friend and you order a club soda, and everybody else is drinking Jack Daniels and vodka and fancy drinks with freaking umbrellas in them, and people are running back and forth to the bathroom,
Yeah.
and you're sitting there,
Powder the
and
nose.
you feel like and what do you feel like? A putz, right? Drinking club soda, sitting there by yourself, and you just got out of treatment, and so let me get this straight. What is one of the reasons we started when we were little kids? One of the many reasons might have been because you felt different and you
Yes.
felt a little outside the box. So how do you feel right now sitting at the bar with that club soda when everybody else is drinking and drugging?
Alone and different.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Give the man a cigar. So that's the kind of stuff I talk about
Yeah.
in my recovery music groups, and they're all shaking their head. Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yep. That's
Yeah,
me.
it's not rocket science, man.
No. Well, Ricky, it has been a treat, brother. I really deeply appreciate you spending time with us today.
I appreciate you asking me. I always love chatting about recovery and rock and roll and Yankees and stuff like that. And I'm serious. If anybody's struggling, man, you know, come on my Facebook page and message me. And sometimes it takes me a little while to get back to people because obviously there's a lot of stuff going on. I got a lot of social media stuff, but I will send you, in the right direction, or I'll give you a couple of words of suggestions, or cheer you up or something.
Reach out. Reach out.
Reach
Hey, I
out.
hope to come up to your neck of the woods someday soon. And
Wait, where are you now?
I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh, I love Raleigh. I've played there many a time.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
Yeah. I spent a week in Raleigh one night.
I've spent a few of those weeks myself. All right, brother. I'm gonna hit it and catch you later.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Everybody, have a wonderful holiday.